this pre-district game, this opening round game, 21-0 to the visitors from University of Detroit Jesuit High School. Sergio Sampati, as usual, kicks it into the end zone, unreturnable. And so it'll be first down for UofD Jesuit at the 20-yard line. The overcast returning just a little bit here. As you see, there's still a little bit of blue sky up there. We had been expecting rain all afternoon. Had some an hour or so before the game, but it stopped plenty of time prior to kickoff, and we've been lucky with respect to the weather so far. The Cubs of UofD Jesuits served notice early in this football game that they were going to be problematic on their first play from scrimmage after North Farmington had gone 3 and out. It was a 60-yard run by Nick Johnson all the way down to the Raider 2-yard line. The next play, Johnson took it in 7-0, and we had not yet played 3 minutes of the football game. And the Cubs, they poured it on as that half continued. Flag on the first down play across the way. As Richard there on the carry. For some reason I relish saying the name. But let's see what the penalty is. The penalty is declined. No gain on the play, and it's second down and a 10. Many mistakes by the Raiders in that first half. They lost the football in a fumble. They lost it on 2 other occasions due to an interception. They had a bad snap on a punt, and then a desperation kick resulted in a 40-plus yard return that gave the Cubs first and goal at the Raider 1. And on 2nd and 10, a marginal gain by Nick Johnson. So that'll be 3rd and 8. One of the stories in that first half was an injury sustained by Miles Gresham, the touchdown machine, the guy responsible for 19 Raider touchdowns in the regular season. He came out, took a warm-up prior to the second half, had his helmet and gloves on. We'll see if he returns to the ballgame. There's a Sacarino. Down goes Brown. And he loses 2 on that sack. And it's 4th and 10. And a good crowd here at Holland Field. Good crowd on both sides of the field. The Cubs have represented well with the visiting crowd. But finally something for the home crowd to cheer about. The sack and the loss of a couple of yards. 4th and 10. And from their own 20-yard line, we'll see a punt by Xavier Chow. Eddie Lenton the third for the Raiders. Back near midfield. Fair catches it. That is on 49. 31-yard punt. 1st and 10 Raiders at their own 49. With 9:47 left to go here in the third quarter. 21-0 in favor of the Cubs. And Miles Gresham still on the sideline. He's got his helmet on. But one suspects if he were going to be returning to the ball game, he'd be in there now. Jesper Beeler has his spot at tailback. The up back, the full back, John Burnett, carries and gets nothing. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Nicholas Kuza. Nothing there for Brunette, who scored the touchdown of his life 2 weeks ago, and the Raiders win over the Falcons, the battle of the two, at the time, undefeated teams. Brunette's third quarter 58-yard touchdown came on a quick hitter just like that one, and it broke a 7-7 tie. Sent the Raiders on the way to their victory, 13-9. Busamra flushed. Throws against the grain off his off foot. Right-handed thrower rolling to the left, trying to get a decent pass away, always problematic, and he tried to get it to Eddie Lent in the third. It's incomplete. So it is 3rd and 10. It has been 3rd and 10, it seems like, all afternoon for the Raider offense. A Raider offense during the regular season scored 372 points, averaging 41.3 points per game. The lowest point total of the year, well, the 13 points against the Falcons 2 weeks ago. They also scored 22 points earlier in the season against Ferndale. Everything else has been up near 40. Third interception of the day thrown by Busamra here. And the Cubs are going to have it at the Raider 45-yard line on the interception by Christopher McCarris. Interception number 3 from Jacob Busamra, who threw 3 all regular season. He's thrown 3 in one half of football, plus 1 possession here today. And McCarris finally brought down by one of the offensive linemen, Carson Roberts. So another turnover. And Jesuit 1st and 10 in Raider territory. And on the first down, pass goes incomplete. Or was it? No, it's caught down there. Caught by Jeffrey Knight. Down to the 41-yard line for a gain of 5. And now you see UofD Jesuit, the Cubs, leading 21-0, and they're very deliberate. Huddling leisurely, taking their time getting to the line of scrimmage. Richard on the carry, close to a first down, may have fallen forward far enough to get it, but no. Flag, meanwhile, up near the far sideline. It's illegal procedure here against Jesuit. So that play that you're looking at right now never happened. And it's going to be 2nd and 10 from back at the 46. It's 21-0, UofD Jesuit. Now, I have not said this so far this afternoon, but we'll say it now. If the Cubs win, then Farmington will host them in the district final next week. This upcoming Friday night, November 8th, or Saturday, November 9th. Pass caught down near the 40-yard line. I believe that's Christian Robinson, and it is. That's down to the 40-yard line for a gain of 6. 3rd and 4 from the 40. Or make it the 41, made that the 5-yard gain. Looking at that referee between the chains across the way, and he had his foot firmly on the 40. I said, well, that's where the ball is, and nope, down the 41. All right, here we go. 3rd down here, 5 to go. Brown caught down there, good enough for a first down, indeed, down to the 35-yard line on the reception by Andre Spivey. So the drive stays alive down to the 35-yard line of the Raiders, who need the football. Clock running here. 6:45 left in the 3rd quarter. UofD 21, North Farmington, no score. Again, the winner of this game plays Farmington next week. If the Raiders can come back, they host that game. If they cannot, the Falcons host that game. Knight looking to turn the corner. Looks like a pretty good hole down there, and there comes the flag. 2 of them. Looked to me like Spencer Bolak, number 33. Watch it on the replay. Watch for number 33. He's in the slot right now. There you see him, 33. And he kind of grabs on, doesn't he? Yeah, he got both hands, and that's kind of a hold. And Jesper Beeler had no chance to make a play on the ball carrier. So that's why it's a penalty. So they walk it back to the spot where this possession began, the 46-yard line. Works out to be an 11-yard penalty for the hold. And that means it's 1st and 21 from the 46. For those of you scoring at home. I'm struggling up here in the booth this afternoon. Sam Fisher is not with us today. He's been assigned other duties on this Saturday afternoon broadcast. I'm sure he's doing a great job. I just miss having him here in the booth with me. Nate Brown, the home run ball down the sidelines, incomplete. Good coverage by Beeler on Dorian Mauzi. Mauzi has an interception in this game, number 5 for the Cubs. And he also has that punt return off the punt with the bad snap that was only a punt because Jacob Bussammer in desperation tried to kick the ball and it only went 6 or 7 yards. It was picked up by Mauzi, and he rumbled down to the 1-yard line. That set UofD up nicely for their 3rd touchdown of the first half. They have the 2-yard run by Nick Johnson. 33-yard pass from Brown to Hinton. And no gain on the 2nd down play on a ball that there was on a run here. Let's take a look. Oh, Burnett had both hands on it, and that could well have been a pick 6, and it winds up being a pass completed to number 13, Andre Spivey, of all things. And it loses a yard back to the 47. But boy, I'll tell you what, Burnett had nothing but air between him and the end zone if he'd have been able to bring that one in. 3rd down and 22 from the 47. Well, that's I don't know if you call that a mistake or a break or whatever, but it's another one that has not gone in the Raider favor, and it's caught down there inside the 10-yard line. There's a flag. It's caught down at the 9-yard line, and it's going to be just depends on the flag. It's either going to be 3rd and long or 1st and goal here for UofD. You see the referee out about the 20-yard line, the 22 or so. We are waiting for his signal. There it is. Pass interference. It's against the Raiders. It's declined. It's 1st and goal. Pass to Hinton. The football down at the 11-yard line, or check at the 9-yard line. So that's a 44-yard pass. 1st and goal at the 9, and they're close to the end zone there on that carry by Richard. Ball spotted at the 2 for a gain of 7. You see number 18, the running back, just off the left hip of the quarterback Brown taking that pitch. And he had a nice hole. Good stop by Malik Hardy, number 52. 2nd down, goal to go from the 2. 21-0 right now. 21-0 UofD right now. That's a touchdown. Another easy touchdown for Nick Johnson. Very similar to his touchdown, which opened the scoring here this afternoon. So Johnson, 2 yards for the touchdown. You see it right here. He just had a nice hole, and he cut it up inside and was able to step past Sylvan Brown and into the end zone. So that makes it 27-0. Xavier Chow misses, and so it stays 27-0. Well, 3:52 left to go in the third quarter, and you see the shocking story right there for you. I'm just totaling up the statistics of that latest scoring drive by U of D. It began with an interception by Dorian Mauzi. So they go 46 yards in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plays. And the big play, of course, was the play on 3rd and 22 when they hit a 44-yard pass, Brown to Hinton. Beeler, and I think it's Brunette. No, it's not. It's Taj Cheatham back to receive the kickoff. This is Beeler. 25-30, looking for a hole. Look at him carry the would-be tacklers with him. Nice return. Really nice effort by Jesper Beeler to the 46-yard line. So now a 4-touchdown deficit confronting North Farmington. Their best player, Miles Gresham, sidelined, hurt, making a 21-yard touchdown reception, or not touchdown, first down reception in the first quarter. So he was out of the game early. Still, the Raiders fight on here. Jesper Beeler with that return you just saw. Brisammer, long and incomplete. Lenton with Devin Wright in coverage, and there are a couple of flags down there. It looks like it's going to be pass interference against Devin Wright of U of D. Here's the signal ref about the 45, pass interference against the Cubs. So the Raiders will have a first down at the 38. The stats that we compiled at halftime didn't look all that lopsided. Total yards, U of D had 117. The Raiders had 97. First downs, U of D had 7. The Raiders had 4. The big story, the turnovers. A fumble lost, and in the first half, 2 interceptions, but now a third added to that in the second half. Brisammer throwing to Brunette against the grain, and he's got the sideline to the 15 to the 10, and inside the 10, down near the 5. They're trying to rip the ball free. No whistle yet. They're shoving Brunette into the end zone. It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown for the Raiders. They never blew the whistle, and John Brunette, with a little help from his friends, takes it in. It's a 38-yard touchdown pass, a little screen pass to Brunette, and the Raiders are on the board. Take a look at this, and especially watch the end of the play. Nice play action to begin it all by Jacob Bussamra. Fakes the long ball and throws it back into the flat. And Brunette, he's got a lane right down the sideline. Now watch what happens when he gets inside the 10, right? They're going to shove him out of bounds right there. That's Hinton trying to bring him down, trying to steal the football. But no, here come the Raiders. And I'd say the impetus in the main supplied by number 68, Jadon Prince. And he powers Brunette into the end zone to complete the scoring play. Now Massimo Sambati will attempt the extra point. It is a 27-6 football game now, as the Raiders put together a quick scoring drive. Sambati's extra point is true. So it is 27-7 with 3:19 left to go in the third. A 38-yard touchdown pass to Brunette following the pass interference on the previous play. And the Raiders, now they pull within 3 touchdowns. Still, what do we have in total? 15 minutes of football to play, right? 19 left in the third, 12 minutes in the fourth. And if the Raiders cannot come back, the Farmington Falcons will host the U of D Jesuit Cubs at Falcon Field next weekend, either on the 8th or the 9th. Friday the 8th or Saturday the 9th. There's a history between U of D Jesuit and Farmington High School. I'll tell you about it in a moment. This is the first ever meeting between the North Farmington Raiders and U of D Jesuit. The kickoff on the end zone, it will not be returned. So the Raiders, as we say, have never played the Cubs, but the Falcons have. The only meeting between the two teams came in 1999, and it came in the playoffs in a regional final. And in that 1999 regional final, the Cubs beat the Falcons 28-23. How about that? Are we going to see the touchdown again? Why not? Why not? 38-yard touchdown pass from number 2, Jacob Husamra, to number 3. You see him just coming out of the backfield there briefly. They throw against the grain. And the beauty of this play, this is a nice run after the catch by Brunette, but it's what happened at the end when 5 or 6 of his teammates showed up to shove him from the 5 or 6 yard line into the end zone. There's a flag on the first down carry by Johnson, and it's a penalty against U of D Jesuit. It's a holding call. So instead of 1st and 10, it's going to be 1st and, we'll tell you in a moment. Looks like they're walking it out, maybe half the distance. They're walking off from about the 21. Yeah, they'll walk it back to the 11. So it's a first down and 19 from the 11. Well, 27-7. The Raiders just scored. Gives them a little momentum, and they would certainly benefit from a stop right here. Johnson again, the ball carrier, and boy, he gets nice yardage. Got the penalty yardage back and then some before Beeler takes him out of bounds. But not until he picks up 10 to the 21-yard line. So it is 2nd and 9. Clock is running. Or no, it's not running. It has stopped with 2:46 to go in this third quarter. 27-7. The visitors from University of Detroit Jesuit. They play a good brand of football in the Catholic League. The conference where the Cubs play. And there's Johnson. He's going to pick up a first down. How about that? 2 carries by Johnson. And what had been 2nd down, 1st down and 21 turns into a 1st and 10 2 plays later. There you see Nick Johnson, number 4, had the 60-yard run on the first snap, offensive snap of the football game for UD Jesuit. He gets 10 right there. And UD has it out to the 31-yard line. It's first down, and there goes the Raiders' hopes and dreams of a 3 and out. They need the football back. They trail this one by 20 points. Little pitch play, and it's Mauzi turning the corner. Look out. He's down the sidelines. 40, 30, stepped out of bounds, taken out of bounds, finally, by Aaron Rice. There are no flags. He's all the way down to the 33-yard line. So that's 36 yards on the carry by Mauzi, a little pitch here. I think in college they would count that as a forward pass. But this is a 36-yard rush by Mauzi, who's had a big game for UofD. Another first down for the Cubs. And now they're well into Raider territory, as you see, at the 33-yard line. 27-7, they've got the lead. We'll have a game for you next week because one of the Farmington schools is still going to be active. if not both. But boy, the way it's looking, it's looked since the start of this football game is that only one will be left standing after the opening round of the playoffs, and that'll be the Farmington Falcons. Their big upset last night. 6-yard gain on first down. And we're down to 1:45 in the third quarter. 2nd down and 4 here for the Cubs. The Falcons last night, in the words of their coach, Corey Soroch, went to war. Heavy underdogs on the road at Oak Park against an 8-1 team which had won the division one rung higher on the ladder. Oh, look out. Here goes Johnson busting tackles and busting it to the goal line and diving into the end zone. And I'm waiting for a signal, and there it is. It's a touchdown. It's another touchdown for Nick Johnson. His second of the afternoon. He takes this one 27 yards. And the Cubs answer the Raider touchdown, and I got to tell you guys, it's over. It is over. Boy, oh boy, you hate to say it in the third quarter, but with 1:12 to go in the third, well, it's 33-7, point pending. Well, there's been an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty flag, but I did not hear the PA announcer indicate which team was called for it. So here's the point by Xavier Chow. He has missed one today. This is his 6th opportunity, and he makes that one. So that makes it 34-7. With 1:12 to go in the third quarter. And officially that'll be an 80-yard touchdown drive, but in real life it was 89 yards because they got that hold on first down, and they just drove 89 yards like in no time, right? 6 plays. 6 plays. And we have not seen that all year long. The Raider defense averaging 11 points allowed per game, and you see the 34 on the board right there, and that is a season high points against as far as the Raiders are concerned. On opening night, Kettering scored 30 points as the Raiders beat him 35-30, but the Raiders found their stride after that. And they, after they gave up 6 points in succession, the Raiders allowed 0, 0, 20, then 8, then 0 again, then 9. A tremendous run for that defense. 28, that's 34 points allowed, 42 points allowed in 7 games. But they can't stop UofD Jesuit here this afternoon. They're very good. Who beat these guys? They're 6-3. Short little kick. It's Beeler again on the return, and he'll bring it into Cubs territory at the 45. 1:06 left in the third as the Raiders take over here. But they're down by 27. So about 25 yards on that return. Or check that. I thought it was 21, but it's not. It's number 12. So I apologize. That's number 12 is Nigel Weems. Got my numbers flipped mentally, and Nigel Weems with the nice return into UofD Jesuit territory. Bruce Sombras got to throw deep. Does, and it's batted around. Falls incomplete ultimately. Justice Clark, he of the big catch, came into the game today averaging almost 27 yards per reception this season. It's incomplete there, and it's 2nd and 10. Again, the Raiders lost
their biggest offensive threat. Brunette into the secondary. And Brunette inside the 20-yard line, down near the 15. So John Brunette, who just had that 38-yard touchdown run a few moments ago. Little counter play here, and he finds himself a running lane. And he's down to the 17-yard line for a gain of 28. Waning moments here of the third quarter. And that pass, just incomplete to Jesper Beeler. Let's not forget, on the other side of the coin, the Raiders coming into this ball game this afternoon with an offense that scored 372 points in the regular season, an average of 41.3 points per game, and they've been held to 7 points through nearly 3 quarters here this afternoon. 2nd and 10, and Brunette again up the middle, and he kind of banged into his own guy, Andrew Dooley, and went down. Pretty good collision with Dooley. But the gain is 6 to the 11. So 3rd and 4 here. Clock is running. We're under 10 seconds now. I would think the Raiders would like to get this play off. 3rd and 4, and they do. And Busamra throwing the other way, and it's his 4th interception of the day. Intercepted this time by Twain Williams. And Twain is out beyond, on the return, out beyond the 15-yard line, and that's going to end the 3rd quarter. Wow. Jacob Busamra has thrown more interceptions in the first 3 quarters here this afternoon than he did all season long. As the Raiders amassed that 9-0 record, he threw 23 touchdowns and 3 interceptions here today in the opening round of the playoffs. He's thrown 4 interceptions. And your score after 3 quarters is UofD Jesuit 34 and North Farmington 7. So it is a virtual certainty now. A virtual certainty that the Farmington Falcons will host UofD Jesuit this upcoming weekend, either Friday, November the 8th, or Saturday, November the 2nd. And it most likely will be on Friday night. I think that's Richard, and it is on the carry, and he'll get 5 or so. Stays in bounds, clock keeps running. The Cubs, the last few plays, are working that pitch to good effect. And that's a gain actually of 6 yards on 1st down. Well, more than that even. Let's call it 7. That's 2nd and 3. Brown with another give to Richard. This time there's nowhere for him to run. Good surge by the Raider defense. Leading the way was Clark Crockett to make the stop, number 81. He's down to the bottom of the pile, I assure you. So, loss of a yard, 3rd and 4.
Well, this has not turned out at all the way anyone at all expected it would. The Raiders coming in with a perfect 9-0 record. Again, it's Richards taking the pitch, and he's juking, and he's faking him out, and he's picked up a first down out of all that. A nice little run, you have to say, by Aaron Richard Jr., number 18. And so the Cubs maintain possession, converting the third down. There's a little fake, cuts it inside. There's a juke, hangs onto the ball, advances the football, gets the first down. Man. So first and 10 at the 31-yard line. 10 minutes exactly, mark, to go here in the football game. 34-7, U of D Jesuit. The Raiders, as we say, as you know, coming in 9-0. Their first 9-0 season since 1978. And they become one of only 4 Raider teams to go 9-0. The Raiders of 1970 did it. The Raiders of 1965 did it. And as we say, the Raiders of 1978 did it. That 1978 team, that was the first year of the state high school football playoff. And back then, it was a 32-team, 4-division format. Had Class A, B, C, and D. 8 teams in each of those 4, I'll call them divisions, for a 32-team playoff. And that year, the Raiders won their first 2 games to advance to the state championship game. They lost it to Traverse City, 20-14. And that the week before that, the week before the Traverse City game in 1978, that's the last time the Raiders won a playoff game. There's a flag coming in towards the end of this play. I thought I saw a face mask, maybe. Happens fast on there. We have to be mindful of that. When we criticize these officials, it happens fast on there. No, it's a hold against the Cubs. So there you go, no face mask at all. So it was 2nd and 10. He'll stay second down. And it's 2nd and 17. I am hoping that my microphone is not picking up the language being used in the assistant coach's booth to my left. I'm no prude, I will tell you. But, you know, this is a broadcast. We do have certain standards. My goodness. Well, I guess they can say what they want. They're ahead 34-7. Aaron Richard Jr. for a couple 3. Bring up a third and, at least a dozen. In fact, that's exactly what it is. 3rd and 12. We are approaching 8 minutes to go in this football game. And UD is going to advance to take on the Farmington Falcons next. The Falcons will host that game at Falcon Field. We expect we'll have it for you here on TV 10. We don't know if it'll be, we won't know till Monday if it'll be Friday night or Saturday afternoon. This is the only Division II game on the entire schedule, and there were 16 Division II games. This is the only one being played today. All the other action occurred last night. A 3rd down loss there for Johnson. And what I would expect you if he's going to punt it away here. It's 3rd and about 16. I know Coach Sorote of the Falcons is here today. As I mentioned earlier, I spoke with him on the phone this morning. And he said the best part of the win last night, the best part of the upset at Oak Park, the Falcons' 12-6 win over the Knights. He said the best part of that was that he gets to coach his kids another week. They get to come in on Monday and spend another week together. And he wasn't being schmaltzy, and that's the way he felt. Here's a block punt. Here's the Raiders recovering the football, getting a break and a turnover of their own, really for the first time in the football game here this afternoon. And it won't be first and goal, but it will be 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. So they shot the gap, and I'm afraid I didn't get the number. But it is blocked. Might have been Clark Crockett, because I'm pretty sure I saw an 8 in the number. But at any rate, it's a block punt. And it's 1st and 10, Raiders at the opponent 11-yard line. Sammer's going to roll and throw. He's got a man down there. He's got a touchdown to John Burnett. Quick replay here. And as you see, Burnett catches that ball just inside the 5 and goes dancing into the end zone to make it 34-13. Sambati to attempt the extra point. The touchdown comes with 6:46 to go. And it's good. 34-14. So the deficit, once again, 20 points. Second time in the game the Raiders have cut it to 20. But their big enemy right now is that number at the top of the scoreboard in the middle. That's 6:46. That's all the time that's left, potentially, in all likelihood, all the time that's left in their season, which has been a remarkable one by any measure. One of only 4 Raider teams to go 9-0. But they have been shocked and stunned, as have we all, by the UofD Jesuit Cubs here this afternoon. The Raiders' winless streak in postseason play, which stretches back to 1978, will continue. They will be 2-6 all-time in playoff games. And it's been disappointing for the Raiders, who today are playing in their first playoff game since 2013. We had that game in 2013 for you here on TV 10. The opponent was Harrison, and the Hawks beat the Raiders 49-7. Meanwhile, the last time the Cubs won a playoff game was also in 2013. That year they advanced to the regional final where they lost to Brother Rice. If they hang on to the lead here today, UofD Jesuit will be 12-5 all time in the playoffs. They've been to the state semifinal. That's as deep as they've gone. They went to the state semifinal in 1999 and again in 2001. Sambati's onside kick's got to go 10. Does. Oh, there's a flag. I don't think Burnett touched it, if that's the problem. Let's see. Well, Jesuit says they've got it, but let's see. Falcons. The Raiders say they've got it. And it's a Raider who's holding the football, Jesper Beeler. But there was that flag. And my instinct was that they threw the flag because they thought that Burnett had touched the ball before it went 10 yards, but he was very careful not to touch the ball. Well, it doesn't matter what I think, or what the crowd below me thinks. They're still talking it over.
You didn't see him touch it. He was looking directly out. He thinks he touched it. If you didn't see it, he picked up like 3 flags already. Let's go. If you didn't see it, you don't call. No way.
They just gave the signal, the symbol, for a personal foul against the Raiders. So I didn't see a personal foul either, but I wasn't, like everybody else, I was pretty focused on the ball. Let's take a look at the replay here. Sambati, nice job to get that ball to take that second bounce. Now, I was watching number 3, John Burnett, and I thought even right here he could have legally touched the ball because it looks to me like it's gone 10 yards, but he elects not to. Safety first, I suppose. But see, it looks like it's gone 10. But somewhere in there, they found and called a personal foul against the Raiders. And if it occurred in that little scrum, I don't see it there on the replay, frankly. So let's see, personal foul Raiders. And, well, all right then. It's going to be Cubs football at about the 30-yard line, or maybe the 25. Coach John Herstein wonders why, and I think like the rest of us. Because even if, well, I don't know. The thinking is the Raiders may still have recovered that football. Looks like they came up with it. Jesper Beeler had it at the bottom of the pile. So why would a personal foul affect possession? And the answer is it doesn't. It'll be a re-kick here for the Raiders. So they're backed up to the 25. After the 15-yard penalty, the ball still only has to go 10 yards. So that makes the key yard line in this situation the 35. Again, it's 34-14 in favor of UofD Jesuit. And that is that's the overriding consideration right now. And it's going to be recovered with relative ease by Andre Spivey of Jesuit. So they'll have the football around the 35. There just wasn't much the Raiders could do about that one. The ball went right to Spivey, bounced. You really needed to take a crazy hop on that second bounce. Maybe skip into a member of the other team. It didn't. It just bounced. It was waist high. It was as easy as can be. That's all you can do is try to get that bad hop, and they didn't. So the Cubs take over. 1st and 10 at the 35. 6:46 remaining in the football game, and they lead this football game by 20 points. Richard fumbled. Look out. It's recovered. Picked up by Rashad Green Jr. And it's a foot race. And look at the speed of Rashad Green Jr. He is going to score, kids. Touchdown, North Farmington Raiders. How about that? The Raiders right now pull to within 14. A 60-plus yard fumble recovery for touchdown by Rashad Green Jr., who just picked a heck of a time for his first career touchdown. That ball comes, it's torn out of there, and it bounces right to Green, and he is going to go 64 yards. Well, maybe it's a good thing the Raiders didn't recover the onside kick. So that gives the crowd life. That only took 15 seconds off the clock. 6:31 to go in the football game. Massimo Sambati. His kick looks good to me. And now, it's a 13-point game. The closest the Raiders have been here in the entire second half. UofD Jesuit 34, North Farmington 21. Well, the Raiders not going quietly into that good night now, are they? Well, let's reset. We got 6.5 to go, 6:31. The Raiders are about to kick off after a touchdown. They're going to onside kick again. And we will see.
2 unanswered touchdowns here have cut the 27-point deficit down to a more manageable 13, 34-21. Still 6.5 minutes to play. Massimo Sambati, the onside kick. No, he pooches it down there. And it's going to be fielded on the hop and taken out of bounds by Donald Johnson. Well, now is the time for the defense. They have to get a 3 and out, or another turnover would be nice. Just saw one of the most exciting turnovers of the season as somebody ripped the ball free in the middle of the scrum, and Rashad Green picked it up and ran from his own 36-yard line into the end zone, 64 yards. What impressed everyone the most, at least me, they couldn't. He was outdistancing the opposition. He was gaining ground on them when they were trying to run him down. He's got speed. All right, the first down play is going to go for a gain of 2 or 3 yards. Johnson, the ball carrier. Just a gain of 2 out to the 21. Now, if you're Jesuit here, you want to run the maximum amount of time off the clock that you can between snaps. Officially a 3-yard first down gain. It's 2nd down and 7. Johnson hit in the backfield, and he's going to be dropped as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Malik Hardy, number 52. There's no gain on that play. Clock running. We're at 5:20. Raiders trail by 13. 3rd down, 7 to go. Now this might not be the entire ball game right here on this one play, but it's pretty close. The Raiders have got to get the football back. That means they have to stop the Cubs here. It's 3rd down, 7 to go. The line to gain is the 29. Oh, they stopped him. They got him. They got him. On that tackle is Aaron Rice as he brings down Jeffrey Knight. And Knight only picked up a couple of yards out to the 25. 24, actually. Really, the 23, just a gain of a yard on that play. I think the Raiders are the ones that have called. I'd be surprised if it was anyone but the Raiders who called timeout here. 4:32 showing on the clock. It is UofD Jesuit 34, North Farmington 21. 4th down here. You have to figure the Cubs will punt, right? They don't want to turn the football over at their own 22-yard line. Even if it is the 23, and it's 4th and 6. So they don't want to give the ball up at their own 23, one thinks. Yeah, and indeed, Xavier Chow, number 85, stands at his own 10-yard line preparing to punt. Eddie Lenton III at his own 45-yard line. He's the return man. 34-21. 4.5 to go. They don't block it. Lenton will return it. Stumbles, regains balance, 40-35-30, down to the 25-20 and out of bounds. Whoa! Well, UD Jesuit didn't want to turn the football over at their own 23. They wind up turning it over at their own 20. Eddie Lenton with a 35-yard return. Flag. Back at the 43. This didn't happen. Here's the replay, but maybe we'll see the flag. It is thrown at about the Raider 40. Jeez, I don't know. I mean, somebody reached out and shoved another player with his arm, but it didn't look very serious to me, but it's coming all the way back. Oh, my. The Raiders will have the football at their own 46. That's a 34-yard penalty against them right there for an illegal block on the return. Oh, my goodness. All right, 4:25 to go. Now you can pick up that yardage back to the 20-yard line with one well-thrown ball to Justice Clark, right? Plenty of time for Busamra. Has to throw underneath and throw incomplete. 2nd and 10. There's another flag. And, of course, it's holding against the Raiders. That backs him up to the 34. It's a 12-yard loss on the penalty, and it's going to be 1st and 22 from the 34. Well, Rich Kincaid with you here in the booth on this brisk Saturday afternoon, first Saturday in November. It's been my great pleasure to watch these North Farmington Raiders this season and to bring you the action here on TV 10. Hopefully we're not seeing them for the last time, but I think maybe we are. But they're battling. That play broke down. It's going to be a sack. It's got to be a sack. He was expecting to throw into the flat to Sylvan Brown, but apparently there appears to have been a lack of communication on that play because it did not look like Sylvan Brown was ready to accept the ball. And the loss is back to the 27-yard line. It's a 7-yard loss. 2nd and 29. We're at 3:45 to go with the clock running. 2nd down and 29. Well, earlier in the game, UofD Jesuit completed a 4th and 22 for a touchdown. But this team has given it's done itself proud. 9-0 heading into the game today. It's given all of us many thrills over the course of the year, and it's interception number 5 right here to wrap it up. Picked off by Elijah Ricard at about the 45-yard line. And I'm afraid that's going to do it. Jacob Busamra. Think of it this way. If he's thrown 5 interceptions today, if he had done that over the course of the regular season, he would have thrown 45 interceptions. In fact, he threw 3. There's a penalty after the interception. It'll back, it's meaningless. It'll back the Cubs up, but they've got the football. There's 3:19 to go. And 34-21 the score. And not much chance for the Raiders now. So they've turned the football over 6 times today, not to mention the botched punt that cost them a touchdown. The 60-yard run on the first play of the game by UofD Jesuit. And timeout called here by the Raiders after the first down carry, nets 2 yards. Shale Toten making the stop on this play. And it's 2nd and 8. Raiders gather at the near sideline. There you see the Cubs gathering at the far. Look at the size of that, number 72, Walter Bowman. Number 89, Miles Hickman. He's a big guy too. We don't have any measurements in the roster that was supplied to us by UofD Jesuit. But those guys are sporting some numbers. So here comes the second down snap, clock running at 3:10. Very nearly first down yardage there by Johnson. And the Raiders call their final timeout. Johnson's had a heck of a day, number 4. On their first scoring drive, that 2-play 62-yard drive, he carried the ball both times. The 60-yard gain to open the football game as far as the Cubs offense was concerned. The way it began here is that the Cubs held the Raiders to a 3-and-out on the first possession of the game after the Raiders had taken the opening kickoff. The Raiders punted it away, and it was 1st and 10 for UofD Jesuit at their own 38-yard line, and Johnson got free. It looked like he was going to run it 62 yards for a score, but he was tackled at the 2 by Justin Bryant. The very next play, he just jogged into the end zone untouched. It was 7-0, and only with that fumble recovery touchdown a moment ago, as the Raiders trailed, been able to cut into that deficit since it was a 14-0 game. This is the closest the Raiders have been since the first quarter. And they're out of timeouts, and it's 3rd and a yard. And the Cubs call timeout. Well, the road ahead, huh? Here in Region 3. The teams remaining in Region 3 are the winner of this game, which will play the Farmington Falcons. Detroit Martin Luther King, they beat Temperance Bedford 45-7 last night. They'll play Livonia Franklin, a 23-7 win over Roosevelt. And either King or Franklin will advance to the Region 3 final against the winner of this bracket, which will be either Farmington or the winner of this game. 3rd down, 1st down. Nick Johnson again. He started it and he ends it. Nick Johnson picks up the 1st down. The Raiders are out of timeouts. There's 2:49 to go as they stop the clock to move the chains. And if we are not at kneel down time, we're pretty darn close to it. 34-21. The Raiders making it respectable here in the 4th quarter, but the deficit too great to overcome in the final analysis. It was 34-7 late in the 3rd. And to say the Raiders have scored a couple of touchdowns here in the 4th. It's going to look more respectable on the scoreboard in the paper. But it is going to be UofD Jesuit at Farmington next weekend, either Friday night or Saturday. And my feeling is it's going to wind up being a Friday night game. North Farmington was the only team in all of Division II of the 16 teams that had a home game in the opening round. The Raiders, the only team that elected to play on Saturday afternoon. Last year in the playoffs, Farmington played both of their games, both their home games, on Friday night. I expect they'll play their home game against the Cubs this upcoming Friday night, November 8th. We don't know for sure. It could be Saturday the 9th, but oh, look out. There goes Johnson. He may score. He gets tripped up. He stays on his feet. Now he is brought down. And the guy that caught him on that first 60-yard run of the ball game, Justin Bryant, brings him down here inside the 15. Nick Johnson, number 4, limping a bit as he goes to the sidelines. And frankly, I hope it's nothing serious because he's played a whale of a football game. And hey, look, if they're going to beat you, let's have their best out there. Corey Saroch probably thinking, it's not the worst thing in the world if the kid has to miss a week. But we'll see. His Falcons upset winners last night over Oak Park will take on this white and maroon team. There's the kneel down. And a shocker here at Ron Holland Field. The Raiders remain winless in playoff competition since 1978. And their season comes to a shocking finish here on this Saturday afternoon. A fall afternoon, if ever there was one. And it was all UofD Jesuit here this afternoon. They opened the scoring less than 3 minutes into the football game, and they never let up. 7 turnovers. 6 turnovers by the Raiders today. 5 interceptions and a fumble lost. And they just got buried. And their season ends at 9-1. The last thing we expected to say to you this afternoon was the words, their season ends. But it has. And we speak them. And we doff our cap to UofD Jesuit. They came in here and played a terrific ball game. Both sides of the football, they dominated the Raiders. You didn't expect to see it, but you did. So the Raiders with over 100 playoff points, 103.889 playoff points coming in, are eliminated. It's going to send shockwaves through the high school world. It's a big upset, an upset of the highest magnitude. But UofD Jesuit pulls it off here this afternoon. So for the final time in 2019, the Raiders shake hands with an opponent. And they will gather and kneel down and have a prayer down at the north end of the field. And they're going to wonder, spend some time wondering just what it was that went wrong here this afternoon. Well, the main problem, they ran into a heck of an opponent. And we will see them, the UofD Jesuit Cubs, at Farmington, at Falcon Field, next week, either Friday night or Saturday afternoon. We will have that game for you on TV 10, and we look forward to bringing it to you. Great job with a bit of a short crew here on a Saturday afternoon, but they got it done. We were able to bring the game to you here on TV 10. We're happy about that. So the Raiders finish at 9-1. The final score here this afternoon, the University of Detroit Jesuit Cubs 34, the North Farmington Raiders 21. And on behalf of our crew, my name's Rich Kincaid. We will see you in 1 week's time from Falcon Field.